I'm just gonna throw a scenario out there for you. Let's say you're getting off work. You had a long day, you just want to unwind and play some Helldivers and maybe check in on the clip channel you use to retroactively watch your favorite Twitch streamer because you'll never actually watch them on Twitch. And then all of a sudden, you're bombarded in the YouTube feed by the same accusation over and over again. Star Wars, gone woke. Gears of War, woke. The Barbie movie, woke. The Fallout show, which features a female protagonist that doesn't even have a badonkadonk for me to stare at, woke.
Sorry, intercourse?
I can't be the only one who's already over this, right? And this goes in both ways. When I see someone generalized as red-pilled trash, I equally roll my eyes. Not because I'm quote-unquote better or above this type of language, but I don't think it's anything remotely in the direction of being productive either. Because I can guarantee if you're a person who hears me say that and think you disagree with my viewpoints, you probably don't. A little bit, I think it's just simplistic language that gets used to help people find others who think identically to them, which isn't a bad thing on its own. People like to watch and talk to other people they agree with. This is why the overwhelming majority of people will have a partner who shares the same politics as they do, because it's a lot easier to like people you agree with than you disagree with. Obviously.
He's one of those older models programmed by a central computer. Not us. We're independent thinkers. Roger, 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 roger.
But it's a destructive realm of groupthink that instantly closes off people's ideas for the sake of protecting your own bubble. And let me tell you why. Firstly, if you go to lengths to protect your bubble, if you read the lists of games that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on and avoid said games, I don't care. You are likely an American, and as an American myself, I believe you should do whatever you want, however you want. That doesn't mean that will stop me from saying that if this is something you partake in, I think you're kind of stupid. I think the most dangerous thing anyone can do is write off someone they disagree with once and ignore all outside ideas. Which brings me to everyone's favorite cockroach lord, Asmongold. I have watched Asmongold semi-regularly when it comes to a lot of, let's be honest, non-issue social drama online, and I appreciate his commentary on things that are just normally written off, but he gives a fair shake. Personally, I wouldn't care if I read in a paper that Andrew Tate had his bowels removed by ice cream scoop, but seeing someone take his words and apply a fair level of logic to it is commendable and a mindset that I think would be much better if adopted by people widespread. Even if it's just acknowledging that 10% of what Tate says is something you can consider as a device, and the other 90% is insane nonsense. This dude's only got 3 more years before he's gay. I think this is the kind of thing that leads to people like Jesse Lee Peterson.
Amazing!
Whose entire personality is about taking something as simple as someone's name and writing a made-up character around that one single trait to shut down and make jokes about it, rather than attempting proper intellectual conversations. It's intentionally dishonest because people have stupid ape brains that make them think loud man is right man rather than applying any logic onto the conversation at hand. Which, by the way, I'm not a big fan of Destiny. Like a lot of political commentators, I probably agree with his takes like 2 out of 20 times, but this interview is fucking hilarious and that's not on purpose. Finally coming back to this strange word, woke. Starting as the phrase stay woke, later adopted by BLM and eventually to the rest of the progressive left, that kind of became a catch-all for progressive ideals. To be woke is to be awake to social issues. Just a quick history lesson if you somehow don't know this. Of course now it's a bipartisan term that either means to champion progressives on the left or is a pejorative for leftists from the right side of the aisle. I'll be honest, I think it's a weak call-out above everything else. It feels a lot to me like the people who would unironically use social justice warrior in 2018. Things like the leader of the X-Men being Storm or Star Wars Acolyte merely featuring a person of color, getting them labeled as woke garbage right out of the gate. but like X-Men has been what we stereotype as woke since its inception. The first X-Men team was 4 white guys and a gal before it failed, and in 1975, when the series was revived under the Giant Size X-Men label, they unveiled a reinvention of the team with Storm leading the charge, one of the strongest characters in the series even to this day. But for some reason, people are quick to call the new series a ruination and woke because Storm is still powerful, or that Gambit dresses like David Bowie. Bowie? Is it Bowie or Bowie? By the way, people have no concept of what true manliness is. If you ain't wearing a flannel shirt and paying $2,400 a month for a lifted Ford F-250 so you can be mashing uglies with the boys while you're fishing, you're a gay little twink. Like, dog, all your favorite classic rock bands dressed like Gambit in the 80s, but now that it's attached to Disney or that it's a woke cartoon, it's so extremely offensive. If you're mad about Gambit being a step away from straight, I don't think you've ever seen the guy. Man wears fingerless gloves and has the powers of hot pink. This is not coming out of nowhere. Not to mention, it perplexes me how many grown-ass men with coffee companies care about children's movies and TV shows. I don't give a crap whether The Little Mermaid was made black or if she has pearly white skin. I wasn't gonna go see the movie, and neither were you. Why are we all pretending like this is made for neckbeards and not a mindless cash grab by the multi-million-dollar company that said they'd rather wait for people to starve than pay them fairly? Skin color of the actors be damned. This aversion also applies to almost any media that is just a tinge left-leaning out there, which is a majority of them. Turns out expressive people tend to be on the more progressive side of things. This applies to Star Wars, where the rebels are supposed to be the Viet Cong, especially at a time where the Vietnam War was all-time controversial. I mean, the bad guys are literally called stormtroopers. If this movie came out today and Lucas explained how the regime of the Empire is supposed to represent the United States, bam, woke garbage. Rage Against the Machine, with people finally realizing what the lyrics are and getting mad at such a great band, sold out and went all woke go broke on them? When Killing in the Name of was speaking about police brutality and skinheads on the force in 1992, in direct response to the killing of Rodney King by the LAPD. Our most recent example with the Fallout show immediately getting the woke label because it features a villain that's a white guy? And the main characters are a woman and a black man? Let's just ignore the fact that Fallout is also satire, and the first mainstream game I can think of with a same-sex couple. But people apply this stupid label on anything they slightly perceive to be woke, regardless of the content. The story of Fallout has nothing to do with race or sex to begin with. In the games, you make your own fucking character. If anything, it's more focused on consumer capitalism and the classism of how the rich literally destroy the world in the name of profits while hiding away in vaults, letting those who can't afford otherwise to burn, starve, and kill each other on the surface. Looking back on the media literacy video I made a while back, I was staggered by just how many people took offense to me saying that maybe fascism is a bad thing, and replied with, well actually, I think it's really good, and I'm gonna say the quiet part out loud and make a story all about why fascism is secretly the best system out there. I'm inundated with this sense that people are just stupid and they don't even realize why they support what they do outside of some weird sense of being the most important person in the room. Let me just say right now, this video is not about you. Yes, you. And this also applies in the opposite direction. One of Sweet Baby's narrative designers saying that she'd never hire white people is just as racist as the people who hate on the Little Mermaid blackwashing for the sole reason of skin color. I know I've already said it, but I genuinely think it's weird how grown men obsess over these Disney movies and cartoon shows to try and shout to the rooftops about how white people are becoming a minority in the richest country on the globe that is a majority white people. Genuinely. If Alien came out today, in 2024, there would be a crowd of skin-blistered idiots that would call it woke because women. I don't think people would hate it as much as like Rey Skywalker, but it's definitely a case that would happen. Now that doesn't mean I'm oblivious to extreme cases of political agendas being forced onto a property, or the fact that the newer Star Wars movies were just bad. If that's your complaint, I'm not talking about you here. There's a difference between something being just flat out bad and it trying to push an agenda, and people are just intent on conflating, if not blaming, one onto the other. But there's a big difference in the dub of an anime being retroactively rewritten to be a hyper-feminist mouthpiece and denying the political content of a story as if it doesn't exist. The people who complain about making stories less political, but their favorite character is the Punisher. They love Helldivers. The Boys is their favorite show. These are horrendously stupid people that are tripped up by the smallest ounce of nuance that challenges their entire worldview, which sits on a delicate little string. I'm talking about the people that take offense to Arrowhead Studios for simply saying they want to put pride-based capes into Helldivers, and a sub-audience of idiots crying from the depths of the interweb, "Don't make my game political," when the opening of the game is a satire of military recruitment campaigns.
No! Sweet liberty! No!
The entire game is a political satire about sending stupid young patriots to their meaningless deaths in the name of profit and oil. Sorry, I mean democracy. How this goes over some people's heads, I have no idea.
So, you said America deserved 9/11. Did you mean that?
No.
We will see this with simply trying to entertain an idea. I bet you if I said that I agreed with Hassan on any given topic, 50% of the people watching this video are going to jump to the conclusion that I'm a radical left-wing communist. I don't blame them, that's just sort of how generalizations work, but at the same time, it's really stupid. I think the best and worst thing the internet has done is give people a voice. It's great because people can share unique things about their lives, their cultures, a new recipe you'd never think of, or a train splitting a truck in half. Some Indian guy could teach you math, or even hundreds of thousands of people could create videos that are entertaining, all for free. Now the downside of this dual-bladed sword is that people who believe that vaccines give us round-earth autism or that awkward eye contact is tantamount to sexual abuse also get voices to share with the globe. I feel it's blatantly obvious that now more than ever people are having a really hard time admitting or even being able to understand how to admit when they might be wrong or to hear out the other side.
Don't leave me hanging.
Trying to soak over here.
Not on my watch. Come on.
Or just maybe, people who get mad over inclusion at any level. Turning characters a different race is stupid. I'll level with you there. I'm not saying that they can't do that, or sometimes a change can't lead to a better outcome, but in my opinion, it feels more offensive to pander and say, oh, here's a Disney princess, we took a popular one and made them a minority to placate the people on the internet, versus a character like Jon Stewart or Miles Morales, who are characters in their own right and have an identity outside of their Caucasian counterpart. But when we do get a character that stands for diversity, like Venture being non-binary in Overwatch, people are insistent on being retarded in the most brain-dead ways possible. I've seen the argument of, the character is just ones and zeros. She doesn't care what you call it. But like, that's just not how this works? Because A, by that logic, respecting the fictional character's given pronouns shouldn't matter either, and B, nobody is just going to go out and drop the hard R in reference to Miles Morales and say, oh, it's okay, he's just a fictional character. That's not how it works. You wouldn't do that. It's offensive whether it's a fictional character or not, and it says a lot about the person who goes out of their way to be hateful like that. Putting on blackface isn't literally physically harmful to black people, but it's still really fucked up to do. It's important for the people who identify with it, and it takes little effort on your own part to adjust to it. People are opposed to this kind of language purely because they don't believe in it, which is a brain-dead way of communicating with people in a society. Personally, I don't believe in a Christian God, or moonstones, or chakras, or lettuce. That doesn't mean I have a clean slate to belittle and dehumanize the people who do anytime I see them in public. That's just unnecessarily rude and not good for anyone in a communal society like with what we have now. So why is it different now that you politically disagree with someone? The anonymity of the internet allowing people to be so much more hateful than they would ever be face to face. All in all, I think any amount of time spent arguing over these properties and honestly non-issues in the world is time wasted to try and make people feel better about themselves for fighting the good fight. But this isn't the good fight either way you look at it. Nobody gains by starting an argument whether or not Fallout should have a female protagonist, or whether it's correct to make Rapunzel a dark-skinned character rather than a blonde-haired Aryan. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, and I understand that. What does matter are corporations like Zillow buying up entry-level homes and renting them out for twice as much as a mortgage payment would be, price gouging from multi-million-dollar companies over mac and cheese that drives inflation, and when they're caught lying about theft being the cause, they say fuck you and continue to raise the price anyways. Corporations that can buy out your representatives and Congress to roll back child labor laws with legal bribes in the amount of $12,000. Putting preteens back in butcher factories. Regulations gone to the wayside as Let Them Starve Disney is more concerned with turning back into cable rather than honestly promoting equality in a way that isn't shoehorned, patronizing, or empathetically shallow. A gay, black, or female character didn't ruin your favorite thing. Some asshole in a suit did. Put down your phone before you tweet something useless, and let's pick up a guillotine instead. In Minecraft, of course. And that's all for the video. I know this isn't going to be a popular one, but fuck you, I don't really care. Stay cool, have fun, be awesome, and that's all for me. Buster out.